It's the Duel heard around the world tonight on World of Dance.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to World of Dance here on AfterBuzz TV. It is week 6 and I'm Kristyn Burtt, and I gotta tell you, I think there were a lot of surprise viewers tonight. All right, before we get into all of the goodies, let's go and introduce all of my co-hosts. To my left, TK.
Just saying that track, Tribe Called Quest, if you're into hip hop, you should know this song, whether you were in that area or not. This is like, got to. Anyways, my name is TK Trinidad. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. I also have a charity event for my birth season, going to the Boys and Girls Club. You can find that in my bio. Donating, give some money, folks. Help me help others.
Great cause. Nice.
Just saying.
Yay. Hi guys, I'm Amy Cassandra. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, AmyCassandra_TV. And yeah, AmyCassandra.com as well. I'm so happy to be here. I missed you guys.
Hot diggity dog. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It feels longer, doesn't it?
Yes.
Hot diggity dog.
Hot diggity dog. Hey guys, what's up? Where all the puns come from right here. Becky Sattero. You can find me at Becky Sattero on Instagram, not Twitter. Okay, if it says Twitter on the board right here, it's not Twitter, it's Instagram. Thanks, bye.
You're like a way prettier version of Kimmy Gibbler from Full House. Like
She
way
said
prettier.
way prettier.
Like,
That's a
But
compliment.
I love her
and she's
too.
fun.
I
Yeah.
love her.
I've gotten that, and I legitimately am
That
like,
hot diggity
I mean,
dog
I'm sure.
was, yeah.
I don't know.
Andrea
Did it.
Barber's like the greatest
No, she's
thing.
really cool.
She's awesome.
so nice.
But,
Seriously.
you know.
Not like I
It's
know
probably
her,
because
but
when I was a
yeah,
kid,
she
it was,
seems
you know,
nice.
yeah.
I want her to be on Dancing with the Stars. I'm just throwing that out there.
Fun things. She's great. She's great.
Let's get into it because there's a lot to discuss, and I have a feeling where there's some mixed emotions on a few things. So I want to start right off the bat with Kinas versus Stroll Groove. We really haven't seen Stroll Groove, so we're like, hello, welcome to the show.
Who are you?
Yeah, I know. This is one of the frustrations, and I think we can talk about this at length today, but just not enough time. Who are these people? We're in week 6, and this is for, it's even Kinas. It felt like a million years ago. We saw them week 1. But they are battling each other, and we kick it off with Kinas.
Ooh, well, shout out to the chat. They were already there before we got there, so
Heck yeah.
Hi.
shout out to you guys. The performance was just like spot on. Actually, like more, I wanted to talk about the Stroll Groove because step is very inherent to the African American and Caribbean community. So there's like a real big story with it. And I just felt like that song drowned out what they were trying to say. Like, I don't know, obviously I don't know if they got to see other performances, but again, I've said this week in, week out, storytelling is like to me for this particular show is like a very important key. And I felt like given everything that's happened in America in the last 2 or 3 years, they could have created something that would have been impactful, and they might not even need music for it.
Yes, I think they did a little bit too much
Yeah.
with it instead of sticking to their roots. It's like a classic example of just stick to what you know.
Right.
And like they did the on the spot improv moment there.
Yeah,
It was like,
and I got
perfect.
shivers. I got shivers from that.
Yeah.
Than the performance, and it was just kind of like, man, like, and it's not necessarily that they add different elements to it. Like, you can add the flips and all the tricks and stuff like that, but it's just like the music just drowned out what they were trying to say. It's like almost taking somebody who's doing tap. You have to get the right song to do it because the song will drown out.
We needed to hear the beat.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, it felt like that was cut short. Like that performance felt like
Yeah.
30 seconds,
It
if
was
even
edited.
that.
It was highly edited.
And that's not fair for us as the viewers because we don't see everything that the audience sees.
Well, and you look at the Kinas theatricality, they were in sync, everything about it to me. I mean, nothing bad will ever come out of my mouth about the Kinas. I think they're the ones to beat in the competition. So
Yeah,
it's perfection.
For me right now, they even feel a little higher than Lay Twins. And Lay Twins are incredible, and we know that. But this is something that I'm looking for, and it's like everything from whether they're rehearsed, their choreography, but the overall concept is there each and every time so far. And those panels, that last like wipe where they did, and
gosh.
everyone disappeared.
Well,
I
and
was
I-
like, what?
that was magic.
Yeah.
And part of this show is bringing every routine to the next level, and this was another example of bringing it to the next level. It wasn't the same thing that we saw.
Right.
And then there's such a big group that like the judges were saying they were able to dynamically use all the different members in different ways.
Yeah.
So there were less people on stage.
Yeah,
but
because
it's
that's
still...
why I felt. I was like, when I think you had maybe, I don't know, 10 people, they were in the middle, and then all of a sudden, like, 6 other pop. I was like, wait a minute, so how many people are in this group? It felt like they were, like, recruiting more people for, like, hey, just kind of be in the group today. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it felt like that.
Very creative.
Or when they had the panel and then
And
they
the
were
sideways, yeah.
They were like floating at that time.
That was amazing.
The only thing I didn't like, so the panels were great for the most part, but the thing about this stage is that there's people everywhere.
Right.
So the people behind didn't get to see the cool stuff that we saw.
They're playing to the judges, yeah.
They are, but it's still like, that's not fair. The people behind
They
couldn't
probably made
see.
them watch the monitors, I bet.
It's like when you go to a big concert and you buy
True.
nosebleed section and you really, like, Justin Timberlake is that small. You have to
But you're breathing the same air as Justin Timberlake, so it counts. Yeah. Well,
Don't you
everyone-
dare hold me back. Hold me back.
I got you. No, but the other thing is that there's an illusion when it comes to those panels that we got to see, and also, of course, the judges, but the people behind, it's just like...
Well, and that's the thing, too. There's always things choreographing for the stage, choreographing for TV. They're two different things, and then when you do have those elements, and this happens a lot, and So You Think You Can Dance, it happens on Dancing with the Stars, you have to find a way to find that balance.
Yeah.
Obviously, the panels weren't going to do that.
Right.
But they would work great if it was a flat stage. It would work great. It works great on TV. So, one other thing I just want to mention with Stroll Groove, there is a movie about stepping coming out. It's called Step the Movie. It's a documentary. It comes out August 4th.
I think I saw that pop up.
Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be so good.
So good. It had a huge buzz at Sundance, and Blessin Geraldo, was on.
So You Think You Can
So You Think You Can Dance. She auditioned and went to the Academy, and I just think people should just watch out for her, watch out for this group, and they're from Baltimore, I think, Academy of the Arts. It's incredible
gonna
incredible
be
story.
good.
Good
Yeah.
for her.
So look for it. Look
Yay.
for it. For sure. So the overall score, and I don't think anyone's going to really disagree with this, 91.3 for Kinjas and 81.3 for Stroll Groove. But you really see that's a big point span.
Well, and it was less polished. I think we can agree too that when you
Yeah.
put the Kinjas next to Stroll Groove, I almost said Grove, got the Grove on the mind. It's a totally different level of professionalism and a polished, clean routine.
Yeah. Everything was just so on point.
Spot on.
And then, I guess the sensei, they were telling a story without even having to tell the story, tell the story after the fact. It was just so good. And they actually, even though the people behind them didn't get to necessarily see, I saw kind of the back ends of them, the people on the side saw the movement. Because I don't know if you realize that the dojo was moving back and forward. There was movement. It wasn't just stagnant.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you see, even there was one point where the sensei turned around and he was walking back, and the panels were walking back with him. That's crazy. Able to do all of that, the timing and match up. There was one thing though which kind of caught my eye. The two panels in the very back, they were just kind of split by a hair. But again,
Super frustrating. But it makes you want to go back and watch because you know that the rehearsal process for something like that was intense.
oh, it has to be.
Yeah.
Your finger goes like this.
And then also this
Again.
But can you imagine even just conceptualizing that whole thing?
Okay, well, we're going to get the Kinjas on our show because I know Vin's girlfriend. So
Don't promise unless you're going
we're
to deliver.
doing it. We're
Come
doing
on,
it, you guys. We're
guys.
getting the Kinjas on the
You
show.
don't want her digging in your life now.
It's happening. It's happening. We're bringing you on. We want to
heard
know
it.
all your secrets.
He got TK's like, were you digging during the show? I was like, yes, I
happening.
was.
Okay.
Do not want to be
I'm
on your
working
bad
on it, you
side.
guys. I'm working on it.
All right, next up, another pretty big duel between Luca and Jenalyn and DNA. And this, I think, was built up as a pretty big duel, and then it didn't deliver on with one half of the duel. So it's kind of interesting. Do we want to start with? Let's start with DNA first, because I feel like we have to talk a lot about them. And let me tell you that they're fabulous ballroom performers. They're great. They went to Blackpool. They're at the top of their game. I feel like between adrenaline and nerves
And the pressure.
and the pressure got the best of them in both outings. Not just there were some wardrobe things on the first one, but
I think Neo got the best of the male
Dennis,
half,
yeah.
Dennis.
Yeah.
It's just because it's almost like he questioned his masculinity a little bit, oh, go and do some weights. Which
shot
I
right
saw
to him,
I
yeah.
saw what he was talking about in the performance, and it could be, I don't know, you guys can kind of fill me in. It could be more of a style or just the way you move as far as picking up bodies, because he wasn't as effortless as
Luca.
Luca was. So I definitely like probably coming in with that, because he even mentioned it in the package. Like, oh yeah, I lifted some weights or stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know if that got into his mind where he had to prove his.
Yeah,
Because she's probably like what, $110, if that.
If that, she's tiny. She's very, and they're both rather small.
Right.
They're very well partnered, and I will say that he was muscling the lifts, which happens sometimes. You get stuck and you're like up, even though she's not heavy. Sometimes that comes from her not getting into the plie to give him that momentum to get her up. Where you do see, and Luca's doing some really hard lifts.
I was just gonna say, I mean, you're also comparing to me when you're comparing the two. Jenna and Luca were doing just Jenalyn were doing just pure lifts. I felt like we were just watching lifts, whereas there was more technicality in the actual dancing. Like DNA was doing their actual style of dance, and I mean, you can't compare the two with lifts. So they're already kind of dead in the water in that way.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It felt, I don't know.
I mean, it fell short. I agree.
It fell short. It felt like the pressure got to him, because even at the end when they lost, like you could see that he was almost about to like break down, and it's his wife, and she like consoled him, because I don't know. It just felt like, and now that you said that, it maybe it's both of theirs, but I felt like it was more Dennis's part that kind of.
Well, he probably felt the pressure.
I know that they altered their routine later, like last minute, after seeing, I know that they had been rehearsing and they had seen some of Luca and Jenalyn's lifts, and they altered some of the routine. So maybe it's muscle memory. Remember, it's like, this is why Olympians, like Olympic gymnastics, they do the same routine for a year before they go to the Olympics. So your body just knows what to do.
Autopilot.
Yeah,
exactly. And they're not at the skill level with lifts that Jenalyn and Luca are. So to me, it's like, stick again to what you know, and you look at the footwork that happened in DNA. It was just, there was no comparison to that.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, if they stuck to that, and then again had some type of, I don't know, story, because Luca and Jenalyn did have a story. If DNA had stuck to that, like what they know, and didn't necessarily change it to their competition, and had a storyline to it, it would have been awesome. Because they really great dancers, and
they have a beautiful natural connection. They're married, so you have something that Luca and Jenalyn, they're not together. And here's the other thing too that I think people forget: Jenalyn is 16, and she was not allowed to compete in the junior category because Luca was 19 at the time. Now he's 20. They had to go to the upper division. So you have to remember too, there's certain things in her performance that are going to come in the next couple of years. Like you just totally forget. Like she's still young, but they did, and I was talking with them, they flew in their choreographer for the second performance to add Craig Smith. He came in from South Africa to Los Angeles
for Luca and
Jenalyn.
But they're based in Toronto.
They're based in Toronto. And Craig Smith works with them. He's a choreographer, but he was working in South Africa, and they were like, we need your help. They had him flown into Los Angeles to sort of like really amp up this routine. They were doing a lot of lifts that they hadn't done before. They were injured, and I mean, they pulled out that performance, which is really incredible. So
I thought it was light years better than the first one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and just the lyrics going along with their movements were fantastic. There's that one part, like, losing my mind. I was losing my mind just watching it because it was insane.
Yep.
And then Don't Let Me Down.
Yep.
Like physically.
Was that the part where she lifted him, or the ending part?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
good.
was dope.
Strength is amazing.
Yeah, it's
just amazing.
We'll see, and there was so much momentum coming. I don't know what it's called, but it was almost like the helicopter around.
Oh, when he was bound?
No, before that.
Okay.
He was just like putting her around that really fast. And there was so much momentum, and then he put her on his head, and it was just like a miracle that she didn't fall.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not a miracle, but
she's like, he hasn't dropped me in 3 years.
I know.
Don't say that.
What happened to before that?
That's trust too. I mean, like the incredible trust between the two of them, that you can't just manufacture that.
Right.
That's
well, I think too, he just looks so strong that that movement in particular, because you are balancing her. So I think that if he felt something was off, he would have automatically adjusted, or it's like, okay, we have to come out of this. So I think they're just so connected, because even though they're not together, it's almost like he treats her like a kid sister, but still an adult
with
like
respect.
Yeah. So that routine was definitely great. I love what J-Lo said, add some more choreography to it.
I agree. I just felt like it was too many lifts, and they're not going to get far if it's just a lift routine.
I don't know. I didn't feel like there was other performances where I felt there were too many lifts. With this one, it just felt like natural to them. I don't know. Maybe
It
because of their
flowed.
body
It flowed.
type
I'm just
or
saying when you
whatever.
compare them to even just what they're going to be facing, I just think it needs to be next level again.
Yeah, and they didn't have as many. They didn't expect to make it this far in the competition,
Sure.
so that they were like, "Oh my gosh, we need more routines and everything." So this was happening.
Well,
all
and
in
they're going to be a
January.
force to reckon with for season 2 for sure.
Yeah.
If they
And
come
if
back.
you see, also too, they've got a lot of videos now up on YouTube. You can see the evolution even from January, February to sort of like they've matured as artists. A lot of the notes that they got on the show, I think the experience has been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't make it, we'll see them. I'm
Oh,
going
I
to see
want
them.
them to make it out.
Well,
I'm so excited
I'm
for
biased
them.
because they're
but-
Canadian, so.
Hello, Canadians.
Sorry, I'm all kinja.
Yeah, and DNA, they are outstanding, and I know that World of Dance has been using them for the tour. They're coming up. They're going to be at the finals in Pasadena like next week, so I know that World of Dance has
She knows
faith in them.
everything.
They have faith in them, so I know. You know what I mean? Like I think that this was just really something that.
Just a little fluke.
Yeah.
Well, see, and what they talked about the entire episode is that this performance was the one that counted. You know, like they could be amazing all other times, but this is when it counts.
Yeah.
And against the other opponent.
Well, and
so-
even isn't it funny that we're saying like it just fell a little short and it's still just like
Amazing.
incredible.
They had some beautiful moments. You know.
Yeah,
some
but
of
then you saw the
quicker-
mistakes too.
You did.
That
Right
was,
off
that
the
was
bat.
it. Yeah, right off. It was very because first I thought of oh my gosh, the couple that was in Justin Bieber's movie or music video.
Keone and Marty?
Yeah, I thought when they did their first performance and it's like, oh wait, was that a mistake? And no, it was
Right.
part of the whole. So I was
Right.
like, wait, was that a like I wasn't quite sure. And then like to see his face and everything like that. Was just
And
kinda
then
like,
Derek's face.
Derek's
Yeah.
was like,
yeah.
Their recovery though was really good. I have to say that because he fell forward, she bumped into him, and they managed to find each other right away. And that can be a very hard thing to do. Get your bearings and then go right into the next
Felt
step.
like that recovery from Dirty Dancing where they go to like make some money and then she's supposed to do the lift and he stops and then she does the
She's
thing.
like,
Oh.
In the original, we're not talking about the ABC movie.
No.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
I didn't either. I didn't either.
I saw it. We talked about it on AfterBuzz.
Well, I
that
think
was fun.
that's why I didn't see it. Is I missed the show and then I had no desire after.
That was a tough one. Okay, so scores for Luca and Jenalyn. Luca and Jenalyn got 88.7 and then 80.3 for DNA.
They were not the lowest. DNA was not the lowest scoring
No, they were
group
not.
of the night, which is interesting.
Yes.
It's really low.
And then we go to what I call my frustration again, but it was the montage.
I didn't even look at that.
You know,
That was ridiculous.
I wish we had time for everyone. You know, the show does need to be 2 hours. But this is what, to me, they're just saying, like, these people barely register in the rest of the competition, and that's not fair because they did make it through to the next round.
But that's why I feel like if they knew, it was, well, maybe you can tell me. Did they know that they were only going to have an hour slot before they started recording the show and they're like, we're going to squeeze it in? Or did they think that they were going to have a 2 hour slot and then they just gave them an hour? Like, because it feels like if they knew that they were going to get an hour slot, then they should have known, okay, well, we can really legitimately feature this amount of people. So let's say 15 groups, 15 acts. Then everybody else would have had to go through the elimination process, the stuff that we don't see, because all the stuff, all those game shows and all this other stuff, Dancing with the Stars and all this stuff, not Dancing with the Stars, but all the other ones, they have to go through a process before they even get on TV. So it feels like if that were the case and they knew that they only had an hour, then there should have been a lot more of, okay, well, these people didn't make it before the show was even, before they like even record the show.
Right. I don't have that answer actually. I know, but I'll
Dun,
check
dun,
in
dun.
with NBC
She'll
just
have it
because.
soon.
I feel like they would know.
I mean, you would have to at least have an idea that it would be a 1 hour format. But what's interesting is they moved it around several times because originally it was supposed to air in late winter, and then it was bumped to early spring, and then it was bumped to compete or like immediately follow Dancing with the Stars, obviously on a different network.
Right.
And then they decided at the last minute to pair it with the premiere of America's Got Talent, and that's where it landed. So there was a lot of shifting going on, and it's always been a 10-week series. But obviously it should have been a 10-week series with 2 hours.
Sure. Well, and I think that they obviously cared more about the pairing than they did about how much time, and now they see it's kind of working against them.
And the only thing that's working though is the ratings. It's whatever was in its time slot last summer, and I can't even tell you what that was. The ratings are up over like 45%.
Well, there's not a lot of, like, just look at, you know, AfterBuzz, like how many shows are going on now. There's not a lot of shows this summer. I think that's traditionally how it is. There's like a lot of, you know, you have 1 or 2 shows that come on, they're more tester shows, but there's not a lot of shows that are out in the summer. So it makes for a good time slot. And then you have, you know, J-Lo fans, you have Neo fans, and you have dance fans. Like you have so many different
Huugh.
Derek Huugh has a
Derek
whole
Huugh.
contingency.
Yeah, so you have all these elements that people are going to gravitate towards that, you know, which makes sense. And there's not a lot of competition. Like, what other dance shows are there?
Sure.
Was it So You Think You Can Dance? Is that
You
the only
Think,
one?
yeah.
And what day is that one on?
Mondays.
So
See, the only thing is that when we see the show and the setup, they start off saying so much about each group. And then they get to this part, and it's like, blah, 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 look, all these people. So it's like, don't spend so much time on
the packaging.
On Kinjas. Yeah, because it's like, we know who they are.
Right.
Like, people are not going to know who they are if they're watching the show. So, I don't know, splitting up the time a little bit more would be helpful. So we're not rushing through. It felt like
maybe
5 seconds for each person.
how J-Lo feels about it. That's going to be your homework for next week.
Yes, I'll ask NBC. Be like, I want to know J-Lo's thoughts and feelings, since I know I won't get her.
Well, you never know, because I do wonder, because she is the executive producer, but how much say she has in the editing process and all the other stuff.
Yeah,
so.
and Nappy Tabs, they're the co-executive producers. I know that they have a lot of say in sort of how the dancers were treated. They were treated very well. So the dancers have talked a lot about it, like their needs were taken care of and everything else. You know, rehearsal space, all that good stuff. So I also wonder, even though Nappy Tabs, they have a job on the TV side, but they also had a job sort of on the dancer nurturing side. And I wonder how they feel with, like, we told all these dancers, like, come on the show, it's going to be great, and then, you know, some of them are cut and some of them aren't featured.
Sure.
So I'd love to know that aspect of it.
Yeah, well, and why these 3? Why were they just thrown into the montage and not the others?
And I was telling you guys, I'm like, I'm a Beast is pretty well known, especially here in the LA area. And they're great kids. They're so talented. Will DeBeast and Janelle are their choreographers. They run the group. So I was kind of disappointed to see them.
Have we seen them at all dance? I don't think we have.
Just the YouTube channel. And they've been at some of the World of Dance live events.
But they haven't been obviously highlighted on this
No.
show. Yeah.
So it was a blow through of I'm a Beast and Mini Request, and of course I'm a Beast came out on top with 86, and then it was 85.7 with Mini
So
Request.
are we ever gonna see them? It's a very weird thing. Like I like that hour format just because there's other shows that have like 2-hour or 3-hour formats. It's just life. You know, you want to be able
Condense
to,
it.
you want to be able to enjoy it, but also, you know, be proactive in your life. Like, you know, that's a whole nother thing.
1 hour less contestants, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like, because the thing is, then that makes it even more. So, for instance, take the NFL. You have 18 weeks? Then you have the Super Bowl. How many people just watch the Super Bowl?
Me.
2 teams.
Yeah.
Even though that's 3 hours, which is still kind of off. But you get what I'm saying.
Commercials.
Yeah, you know, and then you have people who watch the
Yeah.
commercials.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, say if it was a whole day and now you had 6 teams duking it out. Like, nobody's gonna. So I rather just
I
have the best of the best, like the best of the best, the top 10 teams, and then if you want to see who made it to the second round that didn't air or that wasn't filmed, then you can go to YouTube.
Separate
because
platform,
now you're telling people to go to YouTube, and you're gonna see all those acts that you didn't see. That now people who are dance fans, now you can introduce them, because the teams that they featured, if you're not like a super dance fan, you're like, okay, because I didn't even look up for the montage. I was like, wait, so was this? I wasn't even sure.
It sounded like the preview
Right.
for what's coming after the break.
Right.
Yeah.
It gives it so fast, and then you're going through, and like Passion, it's just like, okay, that would have been nice to see them, because
That would've
their
been
work is
really nice.
incredible.
Yes.
Versus Kings Unite, and people are probably like, Kings Unite, like, we haven't seen them, have we? You know, that's where it gets confusing, and I think that's going to be something that they have to iron out for season 2, big time. But we'll just say Passion, of course, 87.3, Kings Unite 83.7. They had reverse scores there. And then the Chapkis Dance Family at 88.7 versus Rhythmatic, who, again, we haven't seen.
I know.
86.3, and it's just, you know, especially for some some of these smaller groups that are less known, this is their platform.
I agree. That's what I'm
to
saying. Let's
be
highlight some of
seen.
these
Yeah.
smaller names,
Or
if you
direct
will.
them to YouTube. Trini Boy 27 says, so you think you can dance is only an hour for auditions, then goes to 2 hours once they get into the live shows.
Yes.
Which I don't mind that concept definitely, because I would have loved to see the full performances.
Right, but so you think you're seeing the full performance.
So you're seeing the full performance. So it just kind of, I don't know.
It just feels too chopped. A lot of these dances just feel too chopped. I want to see the whole routine. You know, that's what we love about So You Think. It's just the
And
whole
when we
routine on
had
the floor.
Tanya here, she was like, that wasn't our full performance. So
Well, we saw that a lot tonight. There were several routines that were just
and then
chopped.
you see
obvious.
some where you see their full performance and some were just cut. Like I think it was Kenja's, you saw the full, and then Stroll Groove.
Right.
You saw it was obviously cut.
Well, and the next ones, D'Angelo, Amanda, and the Mahasovich sisters, those were absolutely cut short. We saw like 2 seconds of the Mahasovich
short.
sisters.
I know, and I felt like, again, I was like, we need to, and I felt like, I was like, did we see the best of what the Mahasovich sisters did?
I don't
No,
think so.
it looked exactly the same as their first performance.
And we didn't really see, it was just a little bit of lyrical kind of dancing, and then I was like, did they do turns? Did they do some leaps? Did they, like...
Well, and it's interesting because J-Lo said she wanted more variety, so I wonder, again, is it in editing, they just
couldn't tell.
They didn't feel it was enough variety.
And then D'Angelo and Amanda, I was like, it was such a quick blip.
See, so it makes you think that maybe once we get to the cut, there'll be less teams. So hopefully they won't be cutting. A little pun.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, they said
Thank
right
you.
off the bat they're getting rid of 6.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
they're just like, whoom, bye, bye.
So please stop cutting.
Like another
mean,
Full
like-
House reference, cut it out.
But
So
that's
much,
what it
I
makes
love
me
it.
think, though. I'm like, so is it I'm a Beast, Passion, Chapkis, like they're all gone, like
Right.
Mahasovich sisters, like is that what they're telling us?
Or maybe it was a contract thing. Like they said they would only be on the show if they would get featured. And the loophole of it is you probably didn't state in the contract that
How long?
you get featured. Which
That's
I don't
tricky.
think people can do that, but you
That's
know
a very
Miss
valid point, though. We don't know what.
Diggity do.
Diggity do, but yeah, just because reality show contracts have a tendency to be very standard,
Right.
and you don't really like you can't have your lawyer go just cross this out.
Right.
Like,
Sure,
reality
sure.
competition shows are kind of like,
But this is
that's it.
different because a lot of them are at the top of their game.
And some of them
So
were
you can-
asked.
Yeah, and some
Yeah.
of them probably have very.
So you can
specific.
say like, you know, obviously it doesn't get crazy like, you know, Mariah Carey in, you know, the green room at Vegas or something, but you know, it could be like, okay, if we're gonna do it on the show, then
Sure.
you know.
Well, I certainly think that there's enough producing behind the scenes where they're like, you definitely know like Les Twins are gonna make it. If they don't, I still don't know who wins, but you know what I mean? If they're making it to the end or some of the later rounds, like they're gonna make sure that happens.
Right.
This happens on Dancing with the Stars too. There's ways you can't change the audience vote because that's locked in, but you can influence what the judges say and the scores, and you know you can be like, let's give an encouraging score this week.
Yeah.
And there's ways that
Editing too with the judges.
absolutely.
They
So
threw in a J-Lo smile in some random
already-
place. It was just like that. She didn't.
Well, and
smile.
already since we don't have a say, the audience doesn't have a say on who wins. I don't want it to be spoon fed. I don't want them to like cut the performances short for people that may not make it. I feel like then they're tailoring it to already kind of tell us who won.
Right.
Whereas just show us the whole routines, let us enjoy it since we don't have a say.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what I was good. Yeah, I'd rather like enjoy the routines and the routines that didn't do. So I don't know.
Right, we're all here to watch dance in
Right.
all varieties and all forms, so we want to see the whole thing, you know. So
yeah, I do too. And I've been like, I subscribe to their YouTube channel. I've been watching, and I'm like, just give it to me. I'll watch it every week. TK.
See, well, and their Pandora station is just as lovely as I talked about a few weeks
They have
ago.
a Pandora station.
They do. Oh
my
they
gosh.
do. It's just a bunch of
The world we live in.
Some of the songs they've used.
you
guys,
we have
their
to talk about
performances.
these guys.
Oh my gosh, we're just like leading up to it.
Yes, but let's just finish scores. 78.7 on D'Angelo and Amanda, and then 81 for the Mahasovich sisters
D'Angelo and Amanda got the lowest
of the
of the night.
Yeah, they're
I liked the note though of the Mahasovich sisters where they were saying bring in the crowd more because I definitely feel like that's they're playing a little bit too connected to each other. So it'll be fun to see if they do something. I mean, not that we saw it this episode.
I know. I
but-
was like, what did you see? I didn't see much.
But no,
like
I think
this.
J-Lo was saying the note is that they weren't playing enough,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Their
To
hair,
the audience.
Their hair was nice.
The hair was
Oh
great.
my god.
The uniformity.
Yeah, it's very on
I
point.
did love that. All right, let's get to the duel heard around the world. Jabbawockeez versus Rouge versus Ian, and I did interview Ian today on To The Point.
Yeah, you did.
And yes, he's just as dreamy.
Oh my
as
gosh.
you.
Did you ask him if his DMs were popping? Because his DMs must be popping.
Pop
Sure
locking
that-
like his
Oh my
body.
gosh. Just
Like his body. That's hilarious. But yeah, okay, let's start with Rouge because we haven't seen them, and
From LA too. Who
from
would've known?
LA. You know, and Ian said that he knew all three he obviously he knows his own crew, but he knew Rouge and Jabba very well. Jabba for him had like set the bar when he was a kid watching YouTube videos. He was like, it was Jabbawockeez. It's hard to imagine that like Ian's 24 and he's been in the game for 14 years since he was 10, and yeah, and he's like one of the first like major dance stars on YouTube. I don't think people also realize that. So he was very early to the game on YouTube. But he's like, Jabbawockeez were my idol, so performing again, battling them was amazing. But he's like, I love the women in Rouge, and he's like, I've worked with them a lot too, and he just had great respect. So I think everyone was like on a level playing field in terms of that. But I think when you watch the dances, it wasn't a level playing field.
no. I don't know. Again, I'm biased. Anything that has to do with the islands, I'm just kind of like, oh, this is great. So I love the music. It just felt like it was just, I can't remember if it was Neo or JLo who said it was the choreography was kind of off. So it was just kind of, the hair thing was great, but it felt like they played it throughout the whole sequence, which is...
And it's been done. We've
It has
seen
been
a lot
done.
of
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, okay, it was good to start with it, but then to use it, like, you should have moved on. And then if you listen to the song, it's a lot of, like, there's a lot of twerk. They could have kind of did more of a kind of dance hall-y vibe, which would have killed it for me.
Yeah, dance hall
Like,
would have been perfect.
It felt like they were going there, but either they didn't necessarily have, like, whoever is choreographing the dance, like, kind of knew a little bit of it, or I don't know. But it felt like they could have went there, and it would have been, you know, like, twerking on your head.
Right.
Whoa.
Right.
It would have blown away.
Yeah,
Dance
maybe
hall
take a
always
little-
kills it too, and
Yeah.
I don't think people like audiences don't always know that much about it, but then when they see it,
Yeah.
they're always in awe of it.
It's not tropical house, people.
No, it was a little sloppy for me.
Yeah.
Just again, you compare it to the other two, and you can't compare it
Yeah.
because it just felt a little.
That
like,
would have been
a
one of
little.
those performances where you just...
They left too much to be desired for me personally.
Well, I like that they showed what JLo said before about the previous performance that we didn't see. But, I mean, I liked them. They were all right. Obviously, up against the other two teams, not that great. But they could have used way more exciting choreography. But hopefully we'll see them with JLo at some point. It was not promised, even though they said it was promised. It wasn't.
Well, I mean, you put it out there. You know.
But you put it out there, so the vibes are there.
She might send, like put him in a performance of hers in Vegas.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
would
she
be
could
cool.
slot him into like one show or a week of shows or
Yeah.
something like
'Cause I
that.
think that's what happened to Jabbawockeez. They were in because after they did
ABBC.
the what?
America's Best Dance Crew.
Yeah, after they did that, they were featured in Missy Elliott's her songs. So, you know, it's possible. I mean, there's just so much content and media
And
out
she only
there
puts
that's
the best in her
possible. Yeah.
videos.
So
And
it
I
gave
mean,
them,
it's just a matter of tightening them up.
it gave them that outlet, which is, you know, what any dance team wants.
Right.
All right, so then let's talk about Jabbawockeez. Because again, they're like the granddaddies. They set the bar years ago. Everyone's been chasing them, and we were talking a little bit about this off camera. You know, they are so well-known, established, mainstream. They're in Vegas though. They're not here in this little LA bubble as much. And sometimes you lose sight of what else is happening because you are so successful. And it reminds you, and I bet that this really gave them like the hunger back of like, oh yeah, we really, like, even though we set the bar, other people are now raising it, and
Right.
we need to meet them.
But
Yeah.
who's we though? Because aren't some of the members aren't they new members? They're not like the original.
They have some of the originals, and then they have some of the new members.
Right.
And when I interviewed them back in February, they said they were relying upon some of the new members to give them kind of like new, fresh energy and
edge.
perspective. And I think that and that was in February, so that was probably at that point post battle at that point. So
Okay.
they probably knew. I should probably go back and watch the interview because I probably have different eyes and perspective on it now
Well, I
too.
think the familiarity of them is maybe what's to their detriment a little bit. Because like we said, the bar was raised. Everybody's kind of familiar with their routine. Even if they change it up, it's still the same details, the same movements in a way. I mean, you can put them in different ways. I don't know. I guess
I don't know, because you can almost take like they're separate but the same. Like Kinja's has that same very detailed oriented, but they rely more on, you know, the Japanese kind of
right. Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, it was polished. It was perfect.
Right.
I mean, the like cannon
very
move was
clean.
amazing. Very clean. I mean, they were what they have always been,
Right.
but it's just kind of nice to see someone else, I guess, kind of be crowned in that moment.
I knew they were in trouble, especially when you hear J-Lo like, that was like an 80s battle. And I was like, oh.
And was it the song
Dated.
though? Because I actually really, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, both performances were really great, but I would have voted for Jabbawockeez.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if she made the reference because of the song. I think that Tribe Called Quest song is made from like the early 90s, late 80s or something like that. But it didn't feel like an old school, like it felt like it was still the same detail, but they used the song and the words in the song to tell a story. So I don't know, I was just...
I still love them. And
I do too.
when I interviewed Ian today too, he just said, he was like, you know, there's one thing about Jabbawockeez, he goes, that I love. He goes, you know, they're dancing with a mask and it's very difficult. He goes, but you look at them and you don't think about like, it could be any gender, it could be any race. It's so uniform. It's so beautiful as a dance. And you know, because I just always like look at what they do. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's absolutely right. That
and then how they
creates
tilt their head too. You can see the emotion without
character, animation. And when they did that at the end, you're like, oh,
I mean, it's
Jabbawockeez, I love that.
flawless. I just think, I don't know, they have their show.
She wasn't impressed.
They have their, no, I was well more than impressed. I don't know, they have their life kind of already set already. I don't know, to me, Ian and the Lions.
The young lions
were just fresh. I don't know, I couldn't keep my eyes off of them.
Trinity Boy 27 agrees with you. Definitely think Ian Eastwood and the Young Lions stepped it up from their first
Yeah, they
performance.
took the notes, which is a
they
big
did,
thing
for
too.
sure.
I asked him about this because I said, how did you take that note?
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't agree. And like, he took it so well. And he, you know, as an artist, you do have to be open to constructive criticism. I get it. And he said, you know, honestly, I didn't really agree with the note. He's like, but I understood what they were saying from a TV point of view, that it's a competition and they needed bigger. And that he goes, but what you saw in that first round, he said, that is true and authentic to who I am as an artist. And Derek said, you know, that was more artistic. So I think he understood what Derek was saying and what the panel was
They
saying.
brought
He
the
goes,
performance level for sure.
Yeah. And
I
he
mean,
said-
the opening sequence of them on the floor was so
and he
dynamic.
said, he goes, I knew if I made it to the next round, he goes, I knew what number I was going to do already with the guys. But I was like, I go, man, that was just really mature the way you handled it. Because inside I was a little bit like, I don't agree with that at all. Because to me, that first piece was classic Ian.
Well, yeah, I definitely agree, but that's what makes people, you know, go from average to great.
Yep, to rise to the
all
occasion,
those,
they did.
those little things that, you know, the comments from any judge or any coach or anything like that, that makes the difference. Whether it's good or bad criticism, you can take that because what you do as an artist is, you know, you're seeing it from your own eyes and what you're seeing in the mirror, but you can't see what everybody else is seeing. Like,
sure.
you'll never have that opportunity.
And he said he knew, he said, because I've been on YouTube forever and people make comments all the time in his work. He goes, not everyone's going to like my work.
Yeah.
Oh, this routine had so much swag, and it was
That
Just
MJ moment right there was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very like he reminds
Look
me
at your
of
face.
What?
with their crotchular region grab.
Oh yeah.
He's highly influenced. He loves Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw that in
it.
this
Yeah.
routine.
First dance routine he ever did when he took a dance class at like age 10. It was a Halloween class. It was the very first dance class he ever went to, and the teacher did Thriller.
Well,
And that was the
that'll
first time
get
he had
you.
heard Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
That'll just get you.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder.
Well, I mean, you don't have to grab your crotch that many times.
Yeah.
We know
It
it's
was
But it
there.
was so
One-
synchronized. But it was so synchronized.
Bam.
There. I'm just
Everyone
messing
did
with
it
you.
at the same
I did really like it. It kind of reminded me of definitely Michael Jackson, but almost like the young Justin Timberlake.
Very much. I was
Like,
thinking that too. Very much.
It's kind of just the way his look.
Yep.
How I don't know if you remember back in the day when Justin used to do when he was with
Brittany.
Is it no was it Backstreet Boys?
NSYNC?
NSYNC.
Oh!
My bad. When he was
Shame
when
on
he's
you. That's
I know,
my
right?
boys. My boys.
And Sync over Backstreet Boys.
When he's with when he
Yeah,
was in sync,
tell
he
it.
would do. There was this one video where they were lifting up this thing in this elevator, and he kind of did this like really like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sexy, I know I'm hot, but
No
I'm gonna be
strings
cute.
attached.
Like yeah,
You're welcome.
You're right.
All NSYNC trivia will be found right here by the
I gotta
Becky
tell you though,
Sattero.
this is how intuitive TK is. The first group that influenced him to get into dance class, NSYNC.
Oh, mic drop right there.
Yeah.
Ian, my phone number is.
And if you guys want to watch this interview, it is on Popcorn Talk, which is owned by AfterBuzz TV, of course, and it's to the point with Kristyn Burtt.
No, he absolutely.
Is that Popcorn
yes.
Talk?
It is on Popcorn Talk.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
He definitely has that Justin Timberlake swag
Yeah.
for sure. The little like shirt grab and like. Oh.
Yeah,
Hot
it's
in
like
here.
I'm hot, but I'm not. It's not over. It's not aggressively hot.
It's
like,
not
I'm cute.
cocky either.
Yeah.
He's not as a person. Like, it's so amazing to talk with him because he just wants to talk about the art and what he sees and the concepts and everything. At
Tell me
that
more, tell me
age,
more.
I know it's amazing to have that perception and perspective at such a young age because a lot of people don't have it in their 20s.
Sure.
I didn't have it in my 20s. I can tell you.
Well, like you said, he had a dream or a goal and he achieved it at such a young age, and now he's 24, just killing the game.
Yep.
And to take such criticism too,
he,
and being in the game for so long.
he handled it really well.
And to deliver against his,
Yeah.
Jabbawockeez. You know, other people
Yeah.
cracked under pressure and they didn't, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
I wonder if Jabbawockeez did a different song, like a more. But even Getting Hot in Here, wasn't that like a late '90s?
No, I was
That was
thinking.
2002.
Oh, okay.
I had to look it up because I love that song.
This
It brought
song-
me back. Brought me
My
back.
mom used to sing that song. It was very weird.
No, and I was gonna say I'm not a huge fan of that song, but the routine made me a fan of that song.
It was, I
I liked it.
didn't
Loved
like
it.
that they used it just because it's dated. But
The girl, the video vixen in that song is actually from Toronto too. Just
Shout out to Canadians.
random obscure Toronto
Oh, good
reference.
stuff.
That's
Good
me.
stuff.
So if you look at it in the end, okay, Rouge got 80, but Jabbawockeez was 84.7, and it was only 1 point that separated them, 85.7. So it really was a close match.
I
in the
wonder
end.
what the different. I
Yeah.
would have loved to see the breakdown of all the levels on how that all.
I
went
wish
down.
that they gave us the breakdown of each judge because I really want to see, especially Neo, where he has a more critical eye than the other two. Like, how harshly is he judging these people?
Well,
He's definitely like
one-
the Simon of them all.
Absolutely. And 1 point between 3 judges with all those different levels, I mean, it could be the tiniest little thing, you know?
I know.
Oof.
Yeah, it could have just been a half point on like between 2 judges, or
It could have
was it
been
spread
Ian's
between the
wink
3?
that, you know, brought that in.
well, were you guys shocked by the score?
No, I was all in for
I knew
Ian
it was
personally.
close. Like I said, I was definitely pulling for the Jabbawockeez, but I also realized it didn't feel like a robbery. It was like, yeah, they were legitimately good. So I knew it was going to be close. So, you know. And I mean, they're just going to go back to Vegas. So
Right. Well, and I remember
Darn.
thinking when they were done, I was like, oh man, I'm really
now
bummed
you
about
can see them
Ian.
in Vegas. Like,
But
I mean, it's just.
they got it.
Yeah.
There he is. I know. And, you know, right now I feel like between Les Twins and Kinjas, because remember, they're in 2 different categories. And then who's going to be the junior? That's the one.
Oh, I am so no. The junior for me is gonna be insane because I
Between
think
Diana and like Eva. That's going to be a hard
If
one.
we're going to see them,
Right.
jeez,
Well,
editing
but-
is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean the sneak peek that we got, we just see J-Lo hugging Diana.
I know, which makes me think,
And-
did she go
and
away?
Eva,
Well, we
too.
see Eva with tears, so
I
Tears
know.
of joy, sadness.
But they always flip it. It always seems to be the opposite of like what happens in the promo. It's something else. So
never know. We won't know till next week.
till next week. All right, you guys. This was another fast episode of World of Dance. Just like they're fast, we're super fast. So
Bam.
crazy. But you know, I'll get as much scoop as possible. You know me. I'm constantly texting, trying to get it all. Digging.
oh,
Dig
nice.
it up.
Dig,
Hot
dig, dig.
diggity dog right here. Get it?
Yeah.
It never ends.
TK.
TK's like,
I make TK laugh. That's all I want in life.
All right. Well, why don't we tell everyone where they can find you?
Becky Sattero on Facebook and Instagram.
Are we gonna get you on Twitter before the end of the season? We
Yes.
got 4 weeks.
Becky with the good hair.
Gosh, I just.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming.
Your
It's
Twitter
coming. I
handle.
promise.
You're missing so much stuff on
I
Twitter,
know.
especially with Black China and Rob.
There's
oh my
too
God.
much happening.
Oh my God.
Amy.
Hi guys, I'm Amy Cassandra. You can find me everywhere at AmyCassandra_TV, also AmyCassandra.com, and here at AfterBuzz, World of Dance here, AfterShow, American Ninja Warrior, Wrecked, and Daytime Divas.
Shout out to all our people on our live chat. Definitely Trini Boy,
Thank
appreciate you. I'm gonna say your name wrong. Chelsea 90. You really wait. Well, one of you guys really like my hair. I can't find you now, but thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, thank you guys for all hopping on live chat. There are so many of you I can't say all the names. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. We are in the middle of my birth season. In the bio, it's not about me. It's about giving back to the community. So I'm going to actually have a charity. I'm raising funds for the Boys and Girls Club of America and the Boys and Girls Club of Canada. So please donate, even if it's $1, $2, $5, $10, $500. It'll be great.
Donate.
Great cause. And I'm at Kristyn Burtt on Twitter and the Kristyn Burtt on Instagram. And of course, be sure to catch my Ian Eastwood interview. I have it linked right up there on my Twitter account, so you can find it. And we will see you all next week here on AfterBuzz TV.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.